Hey all, this is just kind of a quick video I've sort of set up in my room here. Let me get a little bit better light. There we go. So this is just to remind you of the power of a second opinion, okay? What you really want to do is, even if you like the diagnosis, get a second opinion. Always get major diagnoses seconded if at all possible. And if you can't, keep in mind that it may be wrong. I'm going to give you two things that I was diagnosed with that turned out to be utterly false, okay? Number one, I was diagnosed as being bipolar. Do you want to know why? Because I have family members that have it, well, family member that has it, and because, quote, sometimes I'm happy and sometimes I'm not, or sometimes I'm sad and sometimes I'm not. I can't remember. I don't know. Sometimes I'm sad and sometimes I'm not. And the thing was, sometimes I'm sad and sometimes I'm not because I was always sad. I was very depressed at the time, and sometimes I could convince myself and others that I wasn't for a few minutes. That was his sole diagnostic criteria. I was bipolar and should be on medication because sometimes I'm sad and sometimes I'm not. Now, the other thing was I was diagnosed as I think I mentioned this before, a self-centered narcissistic sociopath with hate and anger issues. And the reason why I was diagnosed as a self-centered narcissistic sociopath, which almost sounds like, a rather redundant sentence, was because I didn't really care about what was going on with other people in the room. I didn't know them. I couldn't care. Some of them I did. They seemed like nice people, but I wasn't going to invest like the emotional energy in them. And I was a sociopath because I freely admitted that I don't care if like 1,000 people on the other side of the world die of disease or starvation. Now, is this because there is a global pandemic? Then I start to care. Is this because that these people were killed because of, genocide? Yeah, that kind of matters. But that matters in an ethereal sort of overall sense, not in the immediate sense, not in the deep inside of me sense. And there we go. Camera's trying to auto adjust on me. And the other thing is why was I have hate and anger issues? You're gonna love this because I didn't like the person I was talking to. It was a particular doctor in Nevada who was not liked by any of the staff, and whom I found out pretty much always, if he had to go to court over something having to do with he was a psychologist, having to do with being a psychologist. There was a tremendous number of times that he would almost be put in contempt of court because he wouldn't answer the judge. He didn't think anybody else was important. Basically, what you had was a guy who thought he was better than everybody else, smarter than everybody else, knew more than everybody else, that only his opinion mattered, and that everything he said was going to come true no matter what it was. And then when he was proven wrong, it wasn't his fault, it was everyone else's fault. This was an interesting person. I met him later, and he had no memory of me, but he immediately knew who I was. And I found out that while he didn't know anything about concussions per se, man, he would just lecture you on and on about what was going on in football. I had mentioned that I'd had some. And I looked at him right in the eye and I said, "Doc, I've been doing martial arts for 30 years. I have done multiple martial arts. I know all about concussion. This is deep to my heart. So I think I probably know as much about this as you do. Have you done any, even though you seem to have forgotten all of your neurology training?" He didn't like that. He also didn't know much about motorcycles, even though he admitted that was rather a lot of head trauma from there. So basically, if he knew, he was a big Dunning-Kruger guy. And the same for the first one. Big Dunning-Kruger effect. The less he knew, the more he thought he knew. So when you get diagnosed, get it confirmed. When I got diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, it was confirmed by 2 people and later reconfirmed by a third. It was at least 2 doctors were involved. 3 probably. It's been a while. And when it comes to the thyroid damage, that was really amazing that there's such a thing called injury-induced hypothyroidism. That's why I got fat. It sucks. Okay? I didn't get cancer or something cool. No, that's not cool. Cancer's not cool. But basically, I didn't get something that was easily understood. That was of common knowledge. That's what I mean to say. Not cool, but of common knowledge. And I had to look it up. And I admit that I was watching an episode of House and it popped up because I knew how anal the creators were about every disease is real. And every cause is potential. So yes, injury-induced hypothyroidism happens. And the reason why I knew that this was good was, number one, we had multiple tests confirming. Number 2, multiple doctors confirmed it over a span of over a year. And number 3, this is important, I had 2 previous blood tests in my life that we were able to pull up, and that showed that my thyroid hormone levels, were way normal. were very, very dead center normal. I didn't have it before, even though I had two parents that had hypothyroidism. So it was sort of, I had the genetic predisposition, but I never got it, and the genetic predisposition helped cause what was an accident that may have caused it into an accident that would cause it. So there you go. Always get a second opinion. Even if it's something that you agree with. You know, I have Asperger's, or I'm diabetic, or I broke my leg. Well, okay, if your leg, it should be like this and it's like that, you probably got a broken leg. But when it comes to ankles, it's you know, I once thought I broke something. It took forever to heal. It turns out I badly sprained it and tore other things. I once thought I sprained something and it healed really quick. And it turned out I broke it. So, you know, always get a second opinion. Anyway, hope you're all having a great day. Talk to you later.